Hello everyone. So today I'm going to take a small demo on the topic genetic technology, that is from A-level Cambridge A-level biology. Some few of the learning outcomes for this topic are: what is recombinant DNA, explanation of what is genetic engineering, and how genes can be transferred into an organism. To start with, let me ask you a simple question. What is genetic engineering? You might have heard about this term about genetic engineering. What exactly, right? You are aware of genes, right? Is genetic engineering something related to genes? You are doing some kind of an engineering on the genes, right? What exactly is genetic engineering according to you? Yes, what we are trying to do in genetic engineering is we are removing a gene, remember, right? So what we are doing in genetic engineering, we are removing a gene from one organism and we are transferring it into another organism. Remember that we have already learned that genetic code is universal, right? We have learned that genetic code is universal. Remember that particular part on protein synthesis that you have done in your ACE levels, right? So genetic code is universal. What does that mean? That means each organism, right from bacteria to human beings, the genetic code is in the form of these four letters. What are those four letters? Yes, A, T, C, and G, right? So these four letters are present in all organisms, and that's how the genetic instructions are stored. It is just the sequence, remember, of these instructions that differs from one organism to another, right? As the genetic code is universal, it is possible for us to take out a gene from one organism and put it into another. Is the gene going to get expressed? What do we mean by gene expression? When I say that the gene has got expressed, that means it is able to code for that particular. It is going to express itself by forming a particular type of a protein or a polypeptide in the cell, right? If I am going to put a gene from one organism to another, yes, it is possible that the protein that is coded by that particular gene can be expressed in another organism as well. Hope I'm clear what exactly is genetic engineering. So what I'm doing is I'm taking out a gene from one organism and putting it into another and letting it get expressed in that particular organism. So what am I exactly trying to do here? Remember, in genetic engineering, what am I doing exactly is I'm trying to manipulate the genetic material of one organism, right? By transferring the gene from another organism and making it get expressed in another organism. What are some common examples that you can think of for genetic engineering? Have humans already performed lots of experiments on genetic engineering? Yes, we have tried to manipulate a lot of this, the genetic material of so many different organisms. A few of those examples are here. Like example, scientists have created what we call it as fluorescent mice, right? A fluorescent mouse is something that glows in the dark, right? How's a fluorescent mouse? Isn't that interesting? How we have developed that fluorescent mouse. A gene, remember, a fluorescent gene from jellyfish is taken and it is inserted into the mouse. And in the mouse, we have got that gene expressed, resulting in fluorescence. That means it glows in the dark. Think about it, that scientists have been able to, produce these purple tomatoes. Now, purple tomatoes, where does these purple tomatoes? Tomatoes are generally red, right? Or green varieties, right? How are these purple tomatoes formed? Again, remember genetic engineering. So what scientists have done, they have taken that anthocyanin gene from another organism and put it in tomatoes, making it purple, making it more rich in different kinds of nutrients, right? Similar to that, we also have something that's called as golden rice or the yellow rice, right? I have not colored this rice, remember, right? These are not colored. I have not dipped them into any color. What I have done is I have taken the beta carotene gene, right? From either bacteria, or I have taken it from daffodils. Remember daffodils, the flowers are yellow, right? So I have taken this beta carotene gene and I have put it into the rice genome, making the rice change to a golden or a yellow color, right? This is useful in areas where there is vitamin A deficiency because beta carotene is a precursor for vitamin A. Is that clear? Right? No doubts, anyone? Okay. Now, so we know now what is genetic engineering, right? What do we understand now by a recombinant DNA? See, we are inserting a gene, taking out a gene from one organism and putting it into another, right? The DNA, the final DNA that will be formed by inserting the gene from another organism is what we refer to as a recombinant DNA. So what is recombinant DNA? The DNA that is formed by artificially joining together DNA from two or more different species is a recombinant DNA. I hope I'm clear to everyone here, right? So recombinant DNA is formed by joining the DNA from two different species. Now, a kind of the organism that expresses a gene from another organism, like example these mice, they're expressing the fluorescent gene from jellyfish, right? This kind of an organism we refer to as a transgenic organism or a genetically modified organism. You would have seen in many packs, it is written it's a GMO product, right? What do we mean by genetically GMO product? That means it is a genetically modified product, right? Or it is a genetically modified organism, remember. That means it has genes that belong to some other organism that has been inserted into it to enhance certain qualities, to enhance the flavor, to make it nutrient rich. It could be for any reason, to increase the shelf life, right? So what is a transgenic organism or a genetically modified organism? The organism which now expresses the new gene or genes is known as the transgenic organism or a genetically modified organism. Sounds very, very interesting, right? I can just pick one gene from an organism and put it into another, right? How are scientists able to do it? Think about it now. Is it so easy that we just take out a gene? Is it just like so simple that we take out a gene from one organism and put it into another? Not really. For just like for anything, just for conducting any experiment, you need certain things, right? So there has to be, or to do anything, you need some simple toolkit, right, to perform that particular thing, right? Similar to that, scientists also need what we call it as a toolkit to carry out this genetic engineering, right? So what do we need? What are the major steps of genetic engineering? The first step of genetic engineering is we need to obtain the desired gene, right? Remember the gene that we want to, insert it in another organism, right? That's the desired gene, right? Once I have taken out the desired gene, I'm going to insert that gene into a host organism where it will get expressed, and then I can harvest the desired gene product from the host organism. Now, once I have taken out, obtained the desired gene, how am I going to insert that gene, right? So for that, we need certain things. What are the different ways in which I'm going to obtain the desired gene? Let's see that. There are three different ways, remember. What are the three different ways? The first thing that I should do is, I can either extract or cut out the donor from the donor DNA, right? Fine. So the gene I'll identify in the genome of an organism, and then I'm going to take out or cut that particular DNA segment, right? That codes for that particular polypeptide. How do I make a cut? I make a cut using certain enzymes that are referred to as restriction endonuclease. These are particular enzymes that will make cut inside the DNA. Remember nuclease? Nuclease refers to an enzyme that is going to make a cut in the nucleic acids. DNA and RNA are the nucleic acids. Endo means inside, right? Not on the ends, but inside the DNA. So an enzyme that can make a cut inside the DNA, we call them as endorestriction endonuclease. Right? I'll tell you later why they are called as restriction enzymes, right? Now, the second one, this is one way of obtaining the desired gene, but that is not the only way, remember, right? There can be other ways also. What can be the other ways? Like example, I can also, take out the desired gene by synthesizing from the mRNA, right? Now, we know that information generally flows from DNA to RNA to proteins, right? That's what we call it as the central dogma of molecular biology. Information flows from DNA to RNA to proteins, right? So how am I going to synthesize from an mRNA a copy of the DNA, right? What am I going to do here? So what I can do here is I can synthesize this mRNA from the DNA, right? Synthesize from the mRNA the DNA molecule using the enzyme that we call it as reverse transcriptase. These enzymes are found in viruses, right? Those viruses that have RNA as the genetic material. Viruses that have RNA as the genetic material have specific type of enzyme that they use to convert RNA to DNA. It's the other way around, remember, right? And these enzymes can be used to get the desired gene or the DNA, right, from the mRNA molecule. Remember, in eukaryotes, mRNA introns would have already been removed. So it is always good to get the desired gene from the mRNA. Synthesize using the genetic code. The third way of getting the desired gene is also we can artificially actually synthesize, right? This using the known amino acid sequences, we can actually synthesize the desired gene and use a complementary DNA there, right? Fine. So these are some of the ways to get the desired gene, right? Now, as I said, the first thing that how I can obtain a gene is by using certain enzymes that can make a cut in the DNA, right? These enzymes work like molecular scissors, remember. They work like molecular scissors, right? How? Because just like a scissor that will make, precise cut at a particular location wherever you want, these restriction endonucleases will also make a cut at a particular location, desired location, right? Fine. So there are enzymes that we use that are called as restriction endonucleases, right? To make a precise cut in the DNA, right? These restriction endonucleases, they are all, they have been they were identified, scientists have discovered them from bacteria. Why do we call them as restriction? Because these endonucleases are used to restrict the entry of viruses inside the cell, right? How? By cutting their genetic material, right? So that's the purpose of restriction endonucleases, and that's how they're named as restriction, because they restrict the entry of viruses. And that's how they are going to make the cut inside the DNA, in the DNA, right? Now, very interesting, these enzymes were found in bacteria and they were used to cut up the viral DNA invading the bacterial cells, right? And there are particular specific points where these restriction endonucleases will make a cut. These points are referred to as the restriction sites. These restriction sites, remember, are specific for a particular type of restriction endonuclease. Like example, if I'm talking about HIN3, this is the sequence that it's going to recognize, right? Whereas EcoR5 will recognize another sequence, right? PST1 will recognize another sequence, right? And based on the sequence that is recognized on the DNA, they are going to make the cut in the DNA molecule, right? Fine. as you can see, the cut that is made in the DNA molecule, in this case as well as in this case, it's not the same on the two strands. One is made over here, another one is made up over here. Why? Because these type of the cuts, we call them as staggered cuts, right? That means at different positions on the two DNA strands, right? Now, this creates unpaired bases, right? This is what we call them as sticky ends. Sticky ends. Sticky ends are those unpaired bases which are at the end of each of the DNA strand, right? Single strand. Fine. Those we call them as sticky ends. Another important thing about these restriction endonucleases is that they generally identify palindromic sequences. Palindromic sequences. Now, what are palindromic sequences? Sequences which are read in the same way in both the directions, right? AAGCTT. Here from this direction also it is AAGCTT, right? It can be read the same in both the directions. Such sequences, like example, ma'am, right? It's the same in both the directions, right? Either you read it from this direction or this direction. It's the same, right? The same way, those sequences which we can read the same from both the directions are referred to as the palindromic sequences. Restriction endonucleases will generally identify these palindromic sequences, right? And then they will make either the staggered cuts, that means the two strands will be cut at different positions, or they can also make blunt cuts, that means cutting at the same position. I hope I'm clear to everyone. Any problems, any doubts anyone has? Right? So they recognize what are called as palindromic sequences, and then they will make a cut. So these are ones which are identical from both the directions, right? Whether you read from this direction or whether you are going to read from this direction. Reading direction is pairs read identical on the two strands when the reading direction is kept the same, right? Short bases of unpaired bases, right? Short lengths of unpaired bases are what we call it as sticky ends, right? And that's how the restriction enzyme will make a cut in the DNA molecule, right? Any doubts anyone has? No doubts, everything is fine. So if I'm asking you, outline the ways in which the gene for human insulin is incorporated into the plasmid DNA and inserted into a bacterium. It is asking me, describe how the plasmid DNA is cut. It's a 3-marker, remember. What are we going to write? Remember, the question is about description, right? The command word here is describe. So what will I write in my description question? How the plasmid DNA is cut? The plasmid DNA is cut by restriction enzymes or restriction endonuclease enzyme. I can give an example. At the specific sequence of bases, create sticky ends, right? And the exposed bases so that it is easier to join those strands together. Is that clear? Any doubts anyone has? No? Okay, good. Rate your understanding of the topic and let me know if you have understood the topic completely or not, right? Let me know if there are any doubts that you have with respect to this topic. I hope everyone is there on the green and it's a smiley face, right? Bye bye everyone.